I'm Jared Welch. Oh, I thought you were doing the Magic Mike show. I was going to set it up for you. He's Aaron Halterman, and this is Blinkers Up. What's up, dude?
We don't do that silly shit on this show. We just get right to it, right?
No, dude, I didn't know if you were going to fall for it or not. I was hoping you would, but I'm glad you didn't. But
no, you did that, and I'm like, I'm not. He could wait for an hour. I'm still not going to. No,
oh man,
I have been on like every show. It seems like, Magic Mike Monday, Ricky today and yesterday. Now Blinkers Off. Man, it's crazy.
I know. I keep getting emails like, dude, you guys have to find new personalities. Like, this guy's getting old. Like, he's on everything. Obviously, we started off, we talked a little bit while we were at the Derby, but we kind of broke the news. But Magic, congratulations to Magic. He's got a little baby Magic now. And that's why Halterman has been doing more with the Magic Mike show. Of course, that if you haven't listened to that show with Magic Mike, or on the Magic Mike show with Samich and Halterman, go check that out because it was really good. I listened to that yesterday, actually, while I was mowing the yard. And I didn't learn anything, but I liked it. So, no, I'm just kidding. It was good. So go check that out. And special guest coming up later today. We're still in the slot. We're the early slot today. Still in the slot for the Magic Mike show. Samich will be on there with a special. Can we spoil it? Can you tell you know all the details. Special guest. Can you announce that?
We can't announce it. I don't know if it's supposed to be a secret, but if it was, Ricky announced it on Ricky's Rocket, so it's not a secret anymore. Dan Torchman coming on, Anonymous on Twitter, as you know him. He'll be on the Magic Mike show. They're going to cover the late pick 5 today or for Saturday at Belmont Park. And I believe Dan, actually, I know Dan will also be on Ricky's Rockets tomorrow morning. So he's doing the daily double there. I think he'll regret that one, but he's going to be around.
Dan lost a bet, it sounds like. So
sounds like it, yes.
But no, that'll be great. Great content, obviously, to get. I'm really tuning in to see what Samich can screw up. Because if he's running this thing, because the joke is like, his Magic has tech issues, but it all falls on Magic because Samich just shows up. Maybe the roles will reverse and see if he can actually get this thing to go live. Are you going to be on the back end, or are you just going to let this thing roll?
Well, okay, so we kind of taught Samich a little crash course on how to use StreamYard yesterday. Today I had to set up the StreamYard, set up the feed and have it the schedule basically. I thought I would be able to be on with them to kind of be the producer, but I can't. I've got another thing I've got to go to, so I'm going to miss the Magic Mike show live. So it's all him. So I don't know. I mean, maybe Dan can teach him some things too. Dan uses StreamYard, I think. So
that's true.
Yeah.
I might tune in. I might get on the back end there just make sure the whole thing doesn't crumble apart.
You might do that. Yeah, that would be good.
just ease into it a little bit. But hey, welcome everybody. Thank you for tuning in right now. If you are, it's a Thursday afternoon. So obviously if you are here, you're either degenerates like us and at the track or betting, or you're on your lunch break or something. So thank you for tuning in on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter live. Let's see. I'm you. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Thank you. There you go. Race 8, number 4.
Yeah, you missed you probably missed the Magic Mike show. I didn't see you comment this morning, but that's my top pick in that race. I think that's a really good single. Horse ran too well to lose last time out. I think second time off that layoff now. That horse is going to look pretty good today. I'm excited for the Silky Blue.
There you go. That's today at Belmont Park. Of course, we're going to talk a lot about Belmont Park later in the show. Of course, a big weekend at Belmont on Saturday with the Peter Pan and the Man of War Stakes, which is the big ones. Obviously, the Peter Pan, a little bit of prep there for the Belmont Stakes, which, of course, has some serious runners. We'll see if they're serious, but, of course, kind of who will meet up with some of these horses that are going to run in the Preakness. Obviously, we're back. We've digested the Derby. We're going to kind of finally put a bow on this thing and move on to the Preakness. Before we get into any of that recap, and of course we had a hell of a day on the wagering guide as well. What's the best thing you saw today?
Yeah, for my name, you can kind of see my name as Backus and Oshie. That means David Backus and TJ Oshie, 2 former Blues players that did a lot for the city, a lot for the team. 2 really good players, unfortunately moved on a little earlier, in their careers than I would have hoped or liked. But still, that's how it is sometimes in sports, as we all know. But David Backus last night, most likely played his last game in the NHL. He certainly played his last game in St. Louis. It was a really nice tribute to David Backes. He's on the Anaheim Ducks now. They came to play in St. Louis last night. So nice tribute to him. I really enjoyed that. And then TJ Oshie now plays the Washington Capitals, a hat trick last night. And why that is significant, it was his first game since the death of his father, who he was very, very close to. So it was great to see TJ Oshie get that hat trick. So two former Blues players having big nights last night, and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, it's about that time, right? As far as the playoffs go. I mean, this is what you live for, right?
Yep. Oh yeah, that's right. And then this comment about that Rangers game. So the Rangers, the game started in a brawl.
That was insane, right?
Yeah. So it was a great night for hockey because that game was on, and of course that was the Oshie game as well because they were playing the Capitals and the Rangers. So the game starts in a brawl. Oshie gets a hat trick, and of course, in our region, the Blues are always on. So it was a big night for hockey last night.
It reminded me of that. It reminded me of whenever on the replacements when they Magic says nobody warned me. You guys are going live so early. I thought it was already nighttime. Yeah. Honestly, Magic, you probably get all the days and nights kind of blend in when you have a newborn, especially when you're in hospital. Like honestly, I remember when we were in the hospital with our, especially the first one. You don't even know what time it is. You don't know what day it is. It just feels like you're in this black hole in the hospital, and you're just waiting to see sunlight. But no, the replacements. You remember at the end, whenever they're they kind of come out the second half, and they're and he's Clifford Franklin's looking for a new hoe, and then they just go and start just hitting everybody. There's flags everywhere. That's what it reminded me of. It's hey, they're not fucking around here. Let's set the tone right from the start.
Yep.
Gosh, there's nothing better than hockey. When they do that kind of shit. Best thing I saw has to be just, the being back from the Derby, kind of digesting it, being there. I've been talking to a lot of people that obviously asked, when I got back how it was. And it's been awesome thinking back and, you see in the pictures, the place was packed. I know it wasn't 100K like we're used to seeing at the Derby, but man, 50, 60,000 people there. It felt real. It felt like you're back at the track. Now, the thing I'm starting to see this, and I don't know about you, but maybe it's, I don't know. It definitely feels like horse racing and the Derby. I've seen more and more people talking about normal people in the media. Jimmy Fallon was talking about it. They had a lot of obviously Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady were all there. Tons of people that the Derby brought in. I think everyone was so excited to have this event back and in kind of full swing. And then you look at the ratings. It was the first time ever that it topped all award shows. It was the most watched show on NBC since the NFL divisional playoffs in January. You just never see that when it comes to the Kentucky Derby. And I think everyone was just really excited to have it back. And it just feels like horse racing not only is back, but it kind of feels like it's kind of on the upswing. So it was just really fun to be there.
Yeah, it really was. It almost was it felt to me like this is the first actual sporting event where it felt like a normal situation. The celebrities, like you said, they were all there, and the crowd was pretty darn big for and it's you almost for the first time felt like it was okay to be at an event with people. Right. We were at the Breeders' Cup, but it just kind of was yeah, we probably shouldn't be here, and they enforce the mask and you pull down the mask for a second, they tell you to pull it up. Everybody's real careful. If you close your eyes and you forget that COVID was going on, you wouldn't have known it at Churchill. It was just a normal feeling day all the way around. It was a ton of fun to be there.
Oh my gosh. And the racing lived up to it. And every, we talked it up leading up to it. Every bit of it came to fruition. It was an amazing 2 days of racing. We'll talk more about that when we go over the wagering guide. But before we do, let's get to today's show. We're going to recap Saturday's 147th running of the 3 million Kentucky Derby, as well as look back at some of our betting and wagering strategies, how they fared at the 2 days at Churchill Downs from the wagering guide. Then we're going to give some rapid fire selections for the stakes action this weekend at Belmont Park. Let's go. It's funny how doing the show from at this time versus at night when we normally do it. The comments are raging at night. I think you guys are working.
Yeah.
So everyone's gonna be pissed when they turn in. They come tonight, like, oh shit, they already did that. Damn it. So
I know. We're gonna have to return to that time slot because the comments. I don't know if people are drinking during that time of the night, but they're always like just hilarious.
Yeah, they're insane during that time.
Yeah, there's some great ones.
It's been really fun leading up to the Derby too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's turned into the best part of the show.
Oh, hands down. I mean, I kind of wanted to get people, what they thought of the, obviously, kind of after we've had some time to digest this thing. Let the crazies talk about what they were thinking about the race.
Ain't O'Brien called them the creatures one year. Remember when he got over Nicholson?
That's the best way to describe that. The creatures. We have a lot of creatures that tune in.
Yes.
To our show every time. All right, we're gonna do a little Kentucky Derby kind of final recap of what we saw. I'm sure Halterman's done talking about that, and then we're gonna jump right into the wagering guide and how things looked on that, and kind of really I think that's gonna help everybody, help us kind of we're gonna be obviously jump right back into that for the Preakness. So get a good idea of how what we fared well with and what we didn't. So all right,
let's do it.
3, 2, 1. The 147th Kentucky Derby is a wrap at Churchill Downs last Saturday. Of course, we saw something we never see, right? Bob Baffert winning the Kentucky Derby, his 7th Kentucky Derby, and we just saw him win it not too long ago, back in September, with a horse that similar fashion, similar odds, and similar shocking. This horse goes off at 12-1. Medina Spirit wins gate to wire. Dude, I mean, we were there. We saw it live. It kind of played out how you thought it would, but in a sense. But I don't think either one of us, we both liked Medina Spirit. We both used Medina Spirit, but I don't think either one of us thought this horse could go gate to wire. Got some racing luck. What did you think of the result and kind of how it went down?
Yeah, this was obviously just an amazing Derby when you think about 4 horses across the track coming to the wire. And, it's not too far before that wire, and you still are just like, I don't know who's going to win this thing. Even right when they hit it, it seemed like Mandaloun still could make one little run and get the job done. For Medina Spirit, I feel like it was the perfect situation. The horse drew beautifully, broke beautifully, a great ride by John Velasquez to get that horse in position out in front. And then, you had Rock Your World, who was the other horse that you kind of thought, okay, he'll show a lot of speed. Well, that was a total freaking disaster there. And it turns out this horse gets the trip that he needed to get the job done. And then he gets Essential Quality to go wide on both turns, very wide on the last one. And he doesn't kind of have that kick. He was maybe the one that could close and maybe beat him. Didn't have the energy left, and the other 2 horses just couldn't quite get by. So a really good trip for Medina Spirit. Got a little bit of a break. You have to get breaks to win the Kentucky Derby, though. It's not a shot against Medina Spirit. It's just the facts of the matter. And just would not let Mandaloun pass. I mean, he showed the guts that you got to have to win the Kentucky Derby, too. And the last few strides just held off Mandaloun. Listen, Medina Spirit, a lot of people don't like Baffert. I get it, but this horse still deserves a lot of credit. He laid it on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I think a ton of credit of this race goes to Johnny V. I mean, he did it again. I mean, he did it with Authentic, with the brilliant ride to kind of put away Tis the Law back in September, and he did it again here. It's very similar, where you kind of thought, in that back last year, it's like, well, Tis the Law is getting ready to go by. It's like, no, he saved some horse, and then same goes for this Mandaloun. I mean. You'd said it to me, like, after the race, like we were sitting there. It's like, I think Mandaloun, it never shows up in the chart as you're looking on the screen here, but he may have had a nostril ahead for like a half a second, because it looked like he was getting ready to go, to go by. And again, Johnny V saved, he saved the horse. And really, once, I mean, yeah, there was some racing luck involved. The fact that, Rock Your World just got completely, thrashed at the beginning. Apparently, Rosario didn't even have his foot in the stirrup, one of the stirrups, so you can't even go. I mean, what a total disaster that is. And then, of course, I don't think that Midnight Bourbon necessarily would have been on the lead, but I think he would have been a decent pace pressure. And it just, when they got, they go past us the first time there, because we're about 100 feet or 100 yards maybe from the finish line. We're like, well, this is trouble. I mean, because Medina Spirit's like, once he's loose on the lead, you're like, well, there's no way this horse doesn't hit the board. I mean, at that point, because you're like, there's no way he's not gonna. I mean, we've seen this horse, and what we saw, which was amazing, because we've been saying it all along, is like none of these horses want to pass each other. None of these horses want to let other horses pass. And you look at the chart, when you look at the last quarter of this race, the top 4 order stays exactly the same. It's insane. 1-1-1-1, 2-2-2-2, 3-3-3, 4-4-4. Like they all just stayed blocked together the whole way around. And you look at, Obesos, wraps it up to 5th and Midnight Bourbon, obviously. But like those 4 were very clearly the top 4 horses in this race. And that's the way they came home.
Yeah, no, you're right. And the point on Mandaloon, I listened to Travis Stone's call a little bit earlier today, and I think he actually called Mandaloon as taking the lead at one point in the stretch. So I do think whether he was ahead or not, I'm not sure, but it was damn close to him taking the lead. And you're right, like that just shows true heart. I mean, I get that people are like, I can't believe, Badford did it again. We let him get away with it, but that horse, he kind of looked beat, turning for home by Mandaloon, and he just said, no, I don't think so. And he re-rallied. So it was impressive. I think the Rock Your World thing I think you could have handicapped that to happen. Maybe not the foot in the iron, not in the irons like that. That's a shock. But as far as just like second race on the dirt, first race on the dirt, everything went his way. He wasn't prepared for that kind of adversity. And I think, once it happened, you could tell, because even though it was just a total disaster and there was no way he was going to win after that, he didn't put up any effort at all after that happened, because he got punched in the mouth and he said, where the hell am I? Get me home. And not to the wire, meaning home, meaning California. Get me back to my stall. I am not happy with this. So, he can take it's a learning experience. He can take from it and maybe be better off for it in the future. But when you look up disaster in the dictionary, you'll find a picture of this horse now forever, because that could not have been any worse.
Well, I'm so irritated with myself because 2 weeks before the Derby, he's a toss for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm tossing him. I'm not using him. Top 4, forget it. Like I'm like, what happened? I mean, obviously you can't completely see that, but I mean, I thought like this is way too much. There's no way the Derby's gonna punch him right in the face, and like there's just no way. And then like the more we got into it, the more you talk to John, you talk to all people like really the way this horse is working. You're like, shit, I'm gonna have to use this horse now, and I'm so irritated because my gut was right, and I used him anyways underneath, and obviously, yeah, I mean he was awful. Like we stressed a lot on the live show afterwards. It's like, Midnight Bourbon didn't get the greatest of breaks either, but he tried. I mean, look how he ran on. Like, I mean, Rock Your World just stopped. Like, I mean, I get it. It wasn't ideal, but if this horse is like, I wouldn't say if he's any good, because down the road, you never know what this horse might do bouncing back, but it's like, he was done. Like you say, he's like, get me home. Like, this is awful. He's trying dirt for the second time. He's getting dirt in his face for the first time ever. He has no idea what this shit is. He's always been on the lead. It's like this, like just like way too much against him. And I get crazy things happen, but isn't it kind of funny? It's not really funny, I guess, but maybe it is if you were totally against him. It's like all this talk about taking off Rispoli and putting Rosario on, and then it's like, oh, this is going to backfire. The dude's foot is out of the stirrup when they pop. The biggest race in the world, basically, and the dude's foot is out when they go. I mean, it's like you have one job. You had one job to fucking ride your horse out of the gate, and he's like, "Oh shit, we started." And I mean, it's just like the worst of worst, right?
It's so bad. Yeah.
If you're like, okay, what are the worst things that could happen in this race? If you're doing this before the race, it's like all of it happened. All of it happened. It's unreal.
The thing about it is, if you were trying to write a movie or something about this horse and how bad it was, you couldn't even dream up that the jockey's foot wouldn't be in the stirrup. Like, that wouldn't even be something that would cross your mind as a problem that could happen in a race. I mean, that's just wild. And I thought it was great. Brooklyn Strong defeats Rock Your World. So Brooklyn Strong, who Rispoli ended up on, defeats Rock Your World in the spot. So
yeah, he wins.
Yeah. So Rispoli, he knew what he was doing. Maybe he just jumped off the horse for Brooklyn Strong, right?
Oh, yeah, exactly. What do you do with him, Rock Your World? Like, is he like a total, like, if he wherever he shows up next, to say it's reasonable? I mean, is he? Because there's no way we see this guy again like, he's not going to the Belmont. So I mean, it's like wherever he shows up. Or are you thinking that or do you think they've? Because sometimes you see situations like this where you screw up the horse, and it may not be back to the same.
I think the whole key to his next race, and you might think I'm crazy, whether it's the Belmont or whether it's an allowance or whether it's a little stakes in California, can he get to the lead? That's the key. Because I would play him back. If you look at a race, you think, well, he's the speed. Okay, I think he could, as long as he can get to the lead, I like him still. But if it happens again where he's not in the lead, he has to stalk, he has to do something weird, I think that's when you could see him kind of crack again. Because the horses, he won't forget what happened to him here. It had to bother him. I'm serious. Mentally,
PTSD, big time. Yeah.
Listen, these horses mentally, they're very fragile, some of them. And if he's really fucked going in the future. But again, if he can get out of the gate, get to the front, I don't think he has any trouble winning races, and I don't think I'd have any trouble picking him, but it's just going to depend on the spot and the pace that's there that day. And, stuff like that. If he draws the rail, maybe that's bad because horses might break in, and be inside of him. I don't know, or outside of him, push him on the rail. I have no idea, but he needs to get to the lead in his next start, period. That end of discussion.
Yeah, he could be a very frustrating horse moving forward. Yep. Because you're gonna he can make you look good and bad, and that was part of the fear, obviously, with not wanting to pick him, right? Because we felt like if you pick Essential Quality, he should win. He's probably the best horse in the race. Like, he'll give you an effort, and he did. Whereas Rock Your World could make you look really stupid, and he did make some people look really stupid.
Yeah, and he could do it like you're kind of alluding to. He could do it in the opposite way too. Say he goes to Belmont and he looks like he can get the lead. You're like, I'm not playing that idiot. Like, he was awful, and then he could take the Belmont field gate to where I'm not saying he would, but he could. I mean, that's kind of horse he is. That's the most frustrating thing. We still don't even really know what he is.
Right. You learn nothing from that race other than the fact that if he doesn't get the lead, he's not gonna run. Yeah,
you would rather him, win or sit the trip or get his race, run his race and run like fifth. And then you go, oh, well, he's just average. Or if he wins, oh, he's really good. We know nothing. You might as well just toss this race out. I mean, there's nothing to take from him.
Well, and Vinny alluded to this a little bit on the live show, and it was just, it's like one thing, it got worse and worse and worse. It's like, okay, he misses the break. Obviously, the foot's out of the stirrup. Then he's like, okay, I still need to try to get the horse to the front. Okay, I can't make it to the front. Now I'm going to be out wide. Now I'm going to have to go back. And now I'm going to have to go in. You know what I mean? It's just like one thing after another. And then, the horse isn't even to the first turn yet. And you're like, this horse is done. He's done with this shit. Yeah. Okay. So a few takeaways, and I'll just run through a few of my takeaways and you can comment on them. So one, and I was saying it all along, until otherwise, the one is dead. The one spot is dead. Don't tell me otherwise. That one, and I know the new gate's like, who cares? If anybody can do it, it's Ortiz, it's known agenda. It's like, no. You watch this horse, breaks perfectly. There's pictures, like he's like a mile away from any other horse. All you see is daylight in front of him. Check. Now he's out of the race. It's over. Yep. So the one is dead until further notice. I think you have to bet. I mean, this is kind of but you have to bet Bob Baffert ever in any Kentucky Derby. I don't care if he's 6-5 or 100-1. Bob Baffert finds a way. I think Essential Quality going after. I was one of the only few that ranked Essential Quality still number one in the NTRA poll because I think he was the best horse in the race. I get it. He finished fourth. That's a kind of a hot take, but he run like how many more
68.
feet? 68 feet. 68 more feet than the winner, Medina Spirit. And, it looked like the entire stretch, like he's going to get by. He's going to get by. And I think we proved that he's the best horse in the race or in this crop at this time, but we also proved that he's not anything special. Like this group is just, I listened to you and Samich on the Magic Mike show, and it's like, you guys, you're dead on. It's like, no one's a world beater in this crop. No one's that overly great. It's all, one of the big reasons why Samich and Magic loved Medina Spirit, it's not because of the horse. Like, yeah, I mean, he possesses a lot of early speed. It's like he drew great. He's going to get first dibs on the lead. And I mean, he just might take them the whole way because he kind of got, like, if Medina Spirit draws post 18 or something, I doubt Samich is picking Medina Spirit to win the race, but it's just based, and that's kind of the key is like Essential Quality drew 14. Maybe you thought it wasn't ideal, but maybe you're like, he's just good enough. He can still do it. No, he actually proved that was just kind of his doing. If he draws inside, look at the 8, 7, and 9. Those are your top 3 finishers. I don't think there's any coincidence of that.
Yeah, they got the perfect trips and they got the perfect posts, and they were marginally better than the rest of the field. I mean, that's really how it is. Well, I shouldn't say the rest of the field in general. You take the bottom 10, this was a trash bunch, right? But they were marginally better than the rest of the logical contenders. So you take like Midnight Bourbon. They're marginally better than Midnight Bourbon. Plus he gets a bad trip. It's it's over. So the horses, there's like 6 of them. They're about the same. And the ones that got the best trip won the race or won the race, finished second, finished third, and so on. The only horse to overcome anything was Essential Quality. But I'm going to tell you, it's not like his trip was that bad. He broke from the 14 hole. He never had any trouble the whole way around. He never got checked. He never got stopped. He just went wider than everybody else. But how many times do you see the best horse run wider than everybody else and still win? A lot. So it just shows you, maybe you could say, hey, all things equal, perfect conditions, Essential Quality is the best. He's not that much the best. We definitely learned that. I mean, yeah, he might be the best, but it might only be by 3/4, a half of a length, maybe, So it's one of those things. I agree. Okay, you draw for a little bit inside, you save ground, Essential Quality probably wins, but that trip wasn't what you just call awful. It wasn't a typical, wow, that's a terrible Derby trip type of thing. It was just like he was wide, but he had a shot.
And honestly, the final, move for home when he kind of gets floated out, which was a great move by Medina Spirit, like to kind of float everybody. Like when he does that, like that was enough, right? That made the difference. Just enough to make this horse go wide, make everyone else go wide. And he held him off, and that could have been the difference. Because you look, I mean, how you don't often see a Kentucky Derby finish where you got 4 horses right there. And it really looked like for the stretch, any of those 4 horses could have won. I mean, Hot Rod obviously looked like he was getting ready to go by for a second. Mandaloon definitely looked like he was getting ready to go by. We'll talk a little bit about the betting side of this when we get into the wagering guide stuff. But kind of final thoughts. Let's run through a few of these horses and just kind of get final takes on them. Obviously, okay. Medina Spirit going to the Preakness. We'll see Concert Tour. He's confirmed to go as well. So that's going to be interesting. How both of these horses like to go to the lead. Real quickly, are you, I think Medina Spirit has to be a bet against into the Preakness because he's definitely going to be he's going to be lower than 12-1.
We'll see how the race shakes out. We'll see how the draw, shapes up. Listen, a lot of years, almost every year, I could say that the Preakness draw doesn't matter. With this group this year, I think the draws matter. So we'll see how it shapes up. At this time, taking it for face value, I'm against him for the Preakness. But let's see who actually enters. Let's see what the pace setup actually is. So what happens if he draws 2, the 2 hole, and Concert Tour draws the 3? And the 1 horse is a closer. and Medina Spirit breaks well, gets the rail, and then they use Concertour as a blocker. All of a sudden, he's got the same trip again. So
right.
I'm not going to sit here and say right now I'm totally against Medina Spirit yet. Let's see what happens.
Well, the key is you're going to have to figure out which Baffert is the blocker in this race, right? If it's Medina Spirit, is because he's the old blocker, but he just won the Kentucky Derby. So now it's like, well, does he go back to his blocking ways for Concertour? Or does he stay and like, hey, you know what? We didn't, Baffert's like, I didn't want to run Concertour, but the West want to run Concertour, and so we're going to. But guess what? We're going to block the shit out of everybody for my horse to try to win the Triple Crown again. So we'll see. Mandaloon still possible for the Preakness. I think we can prove that Louisiana Derby was just a weird, scratch that race out. He's obviously a very good horse.
Yeah, I agree. Very good horse for sure. And I think this is a horse a lot of people will be on in the Preakness, and I don't really blame them. And again, I will just say, let's just see how it's going to shape up. I certainly think he showed that him and Medina Spirit are really close together. I mean, that they finished, a head apart, or I guess a half length apart. So let's see where he draws. But I definitely think he should run in the Preakness, and I think he'll have a shot.
Hot Rod Charlie finished third here, ran a really good race. Sounds like he is he's bypassing the Preakness, and they're going to point to the Belmont, which is a little surprising to us because we kind of thought this, son of Oxbow, staying at Calvet Farm, that he would be, the Preakness would be perfect for him. But it sounds, they've been pretty slow with him with Hot Rod all year as far as breaks between races, and it seems like they're going to give him a break between now and the Belmont. But hey, I mean, he's a contender. Any race he enters, he's a contender, right?
High cruising speed, going 1.5 miles. That's what you want. You want to get out in front and just be able to stay on. He looked like he was staying on pretty decent in the Kentucky Derby. He couldn't pass anybody, but he didn't get past either. And I think that's important to note. So yeah, again, how the race shapes up. If we get to Belmont and he looks like he's one of the horses that have early speed and could get out there by himself, I think he can win the Belmont.
Central Quality, bypassing the Preakness. He's had a rough, couple last races have been tough on him for sure. Do you think we'll see him in the Belmont?
Yeah, I think we will. I think we'll see him in the Belmont, and I think he'll come back with a pretty good shot. He'll probably be the favorite in that race if Medina Spirit loses the Preakness. I think Central Quality will be the favorite in the Belmont if he goes. He'll have a shot. I mean, Brad Cox is quoted saying, the first time I breezed this horse, I said this horse is going to win the Belmont. So, I think they'll bring him, and I think he'll come with a pretty good run, like always.
I'll group these three horses together because they're literally the only three horses that made any sort of closing move in the race. Bezos, Midnight Bourbon, and Keep Me in Mind all made some decent moves to get in their positions, but Midnight Bourbon for me, Keep Me in Mind sounds like he's going to the Preakness. That to me, he spells underneath at best because he's just a horse. Like literally, the trainer, Diatora, he's like, hey, he runs like half the race every time. So the gap between 2 weeks is nothing for him because he barely runs, and so I think he's gonna run like half the race as the Preakness, and maybe he gets up for like third, but. Any of the other ones, Midnight Bourbon, he sounds like he might be possible as well.
Yeah, so Midnight Bourbon, I'm interested maybe underneath. I don't think, people are making, he got a horrible trip. He got a horrible start, and then he just kind of got a weird ride. I thought they should have sent him up to the lead or closer to it a little bit more. He did good, though. He tried, and I think that bodes well for the Preakness. I think he'll run well there. Keep Me in Mind he's a mule. I mean, it's just he's going to hit the board, and that's it. I mean, he passed a lot of tired horses. I thought David Cohen gave him kind of a really sneaky good ride. He saved a lot of ground, so good for him there. And I guess Obesos, for a wise guy horse, didn't run too bad. So give him credit.
Yeah, he kind of ran a kind of sneaky good race too, as far as that trip. I mean, those horses there, but like you literally look at the form, and it's just like everyone basically backed up. Helium. Known Agenda made a decent run considering he just got hammered early. I mean, he's one that obviously you might want back depending on where they show up. But, he's seen Known Agenda would be the Belmont, which seems like that would be perfect. Yeah. Highly Motivated maybe got the bet. I mean, honestly, especially considering the 17 hole, maybe got one of the better trips in the race and just had nothing, had nothing left. He made a move. If you watch that race closely when they turn for home, he looks like he's getting ready to go. He's getting ready to fire, and he just flattens out heavy. he's a good horse. I think just obviously the distance was just not, in this horse's wheelhouse. Be interesting to see where they move him next. And then after that, I mean, it's just like, these horses are trash. Besides, I guess, Rock Your World, which we'll see what happens with him. But Sainthood, Like the King, Bourbonic, Hide and Stash, Brooklyn Strong, Super Stock, Dynamic One, Soup and Sandwich, man. You talk about a horse hitting the wall. This guy, Vinny's like, he clipped heels. It's like he did, but that was not before the horse was completely quitting. Like he was done something fierce. I mean, this horse went from 2nd to 16th when you blinked.
I'll just comment real quick on him. There was no reason to like him going into that race at all. I mean, and for some reason people did, but there was no reason to think he had any shot to win that race. And Known Agenda. Okay, it's going to get interesting because Malathot is supposedly pointing maybe for the Belmont. Known Agenda, I think, would be a great Belmont horse. Who Pletcher enters, who rides the horse, all very, very interesting things to keep an eye on. If we get Known Agenda with IRAD back up in the Belmont, I would be interested to play him back. And to me, for Known Agenda, at first you go, well, that just draw a line through it. And then when you actually watch his trip, you're like, yeah, he kind of did pretty decent for what he was dealt. He wasn't awful. He wasn't like the rest of these horses who just quit or maybe passed one horse. He passed horses. He was trying. He's just not good enough, to get that kind of trip and do anything. But I'm interested in him coming back.
Yeah, one of my best picks in the Belmont, it was Creator. And I think he was like 15-1 or whatever. And he won the Arkansas Derby. He had major trouble in the Kentucky Derby. And then, of course, he fired huge in the Belmont. And this could be a very similar situation where Known Agenda wins his prep, has trouble in the Kentucky Derby, obviously drew the rail. If he enters him, to me, you're going to get a price. And, he is a great play for me. I'll definitely be looking to play him in the Belmont if they decide to run him. Do you think, last question, you talked about Malathot. Obviously, she won the Kentucky Oaks on Friday. If they do enter, if Pletcher enters her, it's like she's got to have a shot, right?
I think she's got a big shot. Yeah. Let's see how the Preakness shakes out. Let's see how many more, defections we have. Let's see who actually enters the race. But I think she's in the conversation for sure because she can do something that these horses just haven't had a lot of luck doing, and that's pass other horses. That's kind of an important quality for a racehorse to have. Passing other ones, and these horses have trouble doing that. So she clearly does not.
And distance, when you look at her, seems like just keep her going long. The longer you go for her, it seems like the better. And like you say, that seems like that last 16th of a mile or so in the Belmont is going to be critical. Like, will these horses, can these horses pass anybody? Can they hold on? We'll see. Final thoughts. Medina Spirit wins the Kentucky Derby. Do you have any final thoughts on this before we wrap this thing up and never have to talk about it again?
Hey, listen, I'm glad that this is it because I feel like I've talked about this 1,000 times, and I'm glad this is it. I'm glad. Let's just put a bow on it. I have no other thoughts. I'm sure I've said many things on many other shows. So if you need more thoughts, check those shows out.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think we learned that this group of 3-year-olds is what they are. They're all very average. Yep. Trips are going to make a difference in all these preps as we, final 2 legs of the Triple Crown, and really moving forward. I think as we get closer into the summer, I think we're going to be waiting to see some of these horses. Like I kind of feel like there's another horse out there that's going to come out and, win the Travers or something. It seems like some of these horses, like we're going to see, because these horses are just average. There's got to be something that's looming. Maybe Baffert will have Triple Tap ready for the Travers. So yeah, Medina Spirit wins the Kentucky Derby. That's a wrap.
Oh, here we go. We got some breaking news. Mandaloon, and you just comment here. Mandaloon and Caddo River both to skip the Preakness.
Well, there goes some pace.
Wow. All of a sudden, what's Medina Spirit now? 8-5?
Oh yeah, at least I mean, it really just depends on. There's really no other pace other than his stablemate, so it sucks.
Wow.
I wanted to see Cato because I wanted to, he at least would present a because since it's not, you're not going to get pace pressure from Concert Tour or vice versa because there's the same stable. So
the Caddo River thing it's like, well, he can't win, so why enter him? But I mean, Mandaloon, if he's, and again, this is assuming a horse is healthy, which you can't ever assume, but if he's healthy, not to run him is like insanity in my mind.
I know. Well, he must not be. I mean, that must have taken a lot out of him.
Well, that's more than fair. Yeah.
And I think too, the key is I think Cox trained both of these horses extraordinarily well.
Yeah.
Into the Kentucky Derby, but neither one of them won, and they kind of laid it all out there to win this race, and just didn't happen.
It says, imagine a Triple Crown for Medina Spirit. I mean, honestly,
the perfect situation for me would be he wins the Preakness. He gets all the, we get excited. We get the moment. Well, we don't get excited, but at least the sport gets excited for a Triple Crown, and then obviously he gets beat in the Belmont because we can't have that shit. I mean,
I want you and everybody listening to stop and think about something for a minute. The Preakness will probably be the easiest field he's faced since breaking his maiden. Think about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because since he broke his maiden, he's had to face Life is Good. And then he had to face, Hot Rod Charlie, who I think is better than anything pointing for the Preakness right now. And then he had to face Life is Good again. And then he had to face Rock Your World out on the lead by himself. And then the Derby.
I mean, here's the, I just posted an article a little bit ago on racingnews.com if you want to see kind of the full field, or at least what we're thinking. Here's his field: Medina Spirit and Concert Tour, Crowded Trade, Keep Me in Mind, Midnight Bourbon. These are all possible. Rombauer, Unbridled Honor, that Japanese, the horse that ran in Dubai and shit, France Go, Diana, whatever the hell that horse, Mandaloon out, Cato out, and then Ram, our boy Ram for D Wayne. That's it. So I mean, it's first of all, from a pace standpoint, it's a stablemate, and so that shit isn't gonna happen.
No.
So
I mean, he's got a legitimate shot. This is a race. Forget about his Derby win. Say he finished third in the Derby, right? And then say Mandaloon, he didn't go for whatever reason. He would be Medina Spirit would be vying for favoritism. Forget about the Derby win, just off the other part of his resume.
Yeah. No, I mean, and honestly, if he's good enough, he should win.
Exactly. He went from, well, maybe he's got a shot in the Derby to he should now definitively win the Preakness. He should win it.
Yep.
Wow. What a development happening right on the show here. That is wild.
Yeah, I went from he definitely play against to well, shit. I mean, I think he's probably going to win. So I think it's Baffert. So just pick one of them, right?
Yeah. So we have Concert Tour. Here's the updated list, guys. Concert Tour, Crowded Trade, that Francis Goody, whatever horse. Keep Me in Mind, Medina Spirit, Midnight Bourbon, Ram, Rombauer, Unbridled Honor. That's a Todd Pletcher horse that looked pretty sharp last time out at Keeneland Allowance. And then all of a sudden, Risk Taking is now on this list. Risk Taking's entered in the Peter Pan, but he's now on the Preakness list. So I don't know what that means exactly, but there you go.
Medina Spirit. He returned to the track today, so he's back on the work. Sounds like it went well. So we'll see what happens with him. But he's feeling great. He's a happy horse. We're happy. He's been a great few days for everyone. I'm still incredibly proud. Okay, so sounds like he's good.
Wow.
We'll see. Medina Spirit. All right, let's go. All right, so for those of you, we're going to talk a little that maybe played the guide with us. Hopefully, you cashed in. We're going to talk we're going to go through. I think this, exactly what we played, what we liked, what we didn't like, and how it worked out. And then we'll do some rapid fire.
Let's do it.
3, 2, 1. For those of you who purchased our Inside Track wagering guide to the Kentucky Derby and played the live bankroll, hopefully you're sitting pretty well here. We do this every time we do a big guide. We did it for the Breeders' Cup. We did it for the Pegasus. We did it for the Derby. And basically, we lay out exactly the picks Halterman and I are going to play. I mean, to the T. We're there. We're betting them. We bet all these ourselves. And just we go race by race. And we did this Friday and Saturday. We have over a 60% ROI. I think that continues after this past weekend. But man, I think we wanted to talk about this because it's a good example of maybe one, sticking with your plays, and two, never getting too down or too up. It depends on how it goes. Because we just, the Breeders' Cup, we had an awful Friday, and the trend continued. We had an awful Friday in this bankroll. And yet we still managed to make a hit. I mean, I think we had 14 total bets and we cashed 2 of them, and we ended up. I think what was the total ROI? 50%.
Yeah, we're just under 50%. We invested $428, I believe it was, and then we profited $203. So just a little bit under 50%. And you're right. Friday was just an absolute disaster.
All right, so let's go through. We're going to go through each of these races. I mean, quickly, and just obviously what we thought of it, why we made the bet, the results. We'll kick it off with the Al-Shiba Stakes on Friday, which is race 6, Maxfield. Honestly, this is the start of just total dumb decision making. We both loved Maxfield. We thought he would win, but we thought he would be 1-5. It's there's no point of even trying to play him. Let's try to beat him. I like visiting the one horse underneath. We both liked Roadster a little bit. So it's let's just box those, exacta box 1-5, and let's try to beat them for $5. If it comes in, it's going to pay huge because obviously Maxfield would take a lot of money, and Maxfield obviously was awesome. One of the better performances. So what did he go off at? 4-5, and we totally missed that.
I think he ended up 3-5. And yeah, exactly. If we knew that, we definitely would have put that horse to win because we felt that strongly about him. Yeah, this was embarrassing. This was embarrassing 2 races to start it off. This one, I mean, the one horse ran well in this race that we used, but I mean, this had no chance of cashing right on the turn. It's oh well, it's over,
Yeah.
So yeah, horrible way to start it off. And then if you want to roll into the next race, we bet Aunt Pearl to win because we thought Aunt Pearl would be 4-5, even money right around in there. And we thought, yeah, she looks pretty solid, and she's 1-5. And then, of course, she gets out in front, and then she bleeds in the race and has no chance after that. So we're down a quick $60 making just horrible decisions in back-to-back races.
Well, yeah, it was so frustrating because we looked at these two. We thought, okay, is it Aunt Pearl or Maxfield? Who's going to be the better horse to play here on a win ticket? And, I mean, like you say, if we would have known their odds at post time, Maxfield would have been the win bet, and we would have played some sort of similar exacta or something to try to beat Aunt Pearl in the next race in the Edgewood, and we just completely fucked that up. It's really embarrassing, like you said, especially when you were right. We were right about Maxfield.
Yep.
And just couldn't cash on that. So that was really frustrating. So the struggles continued a little bit in the Law Twin Stakes. You loved She Dares Devil. I liked Dunbar Road. You were right. So that's why we didn't agree on a win bet there. Dunbar Road did not run worth a shit. Sanius did not run worth. Really, none of them ran that well. But She Dares the Devil did win the race. And that one this race was just a total kind of fail again.
Yeah, I even wrote on the guide that the way to play this race is to take a stand against the 2 or the 3 and just bet the other one to win because you're going to get a decent price because they're going to take money about equally. But we couldn't agree on the winner. So at that point, we just threw together a little $12 ticket, hope to kind of get a little bit of money out of it. Not a ton, obviously. But yeah, again, we couldn't agree on the winner and it just didn't work out. So now you're in the hole even more. Yeah, and it just gets worse.
Well, and this will be a key thing on Friday. And this is why it wasn't like it's everyone knows like it's one thing to miss, not cash tickets. It's another thing when you're like that your bet's toast like halfway through the race.
Yep.
And that's the way it was all day Friday. I mean, yeah, Aunt Pearl seemed like she might win at top of the stretch, but then you quickly knew she's fading. Obviously, every race it just seemed like it kept getting worse and worse. And they get right here, the 8 Bells, a race that we wanted to, we were trying to take a swing. We thought this race had some value possibility. We put a win ticket on 12 Caramel Swirl, who is my top pick. This horse broke and went to the, went to the parking lot. Just broke so wide. The horse was awful. Ran okay, but this race was just not good for anybody. Then we played a trifecta wheel with Slumber Party and Caramel Swirl. They both were awful in the race. This one was just a total. We only invested $12, 22 if you count the $10 win bet. Total swing and a miss yet again.
Yeah, again, just never at any point in the race did you even get excited. And that was the theme of the whole, like said, we'll keep talking about it. Not only are you missing races on Friday, right, like 2 strides out of the gate, well, not going to win this one. Just go on to the next, I mean, we weren't even close on this race, like not even a sniff.
Nope. And it continued.
It got worse.
Getting to the Twin Spires Turf Sprint, we played a $10 exacta box. I like Diamond Oops. You like Faya. Both horses were decent prices. Like, yeah, let's box those up $10. That'd be, that might be a decent return. Diamond Oops just gets a horrendous ride, which also seemed to be a theme that day for Flo. And then Faya I think Faya bled too, didn't she?
Yep. Yeah, so it was another just disaster. One horse, the Faya, never had a chance, and then the other horse didn't have a chance really either because of the trip. I liked this bet though because I do feel like while we had no chance to hit it, I still feel like those 2 horses made sense to kind of play that. It was just bad racing luck here. Obviously you look at it and say, well, that's horrible handicapping too, and that's fair, but really. I didn't exit that race going, boy, we were just awful. I exited that one going, we just can't get any luck today. Like Diamond Oops probably should have won the race, right? And if is healthy throughout the whole race, maybe we do hit that one. So, but again, it is another ticket that we knew we had zero chance to hit.
And then finally we get to the Oaks, and this was kind of like the bow on it all. We had, we played a trifecta wheel here with Malthot, Pass the Champagne, and Travel Column on top. Then we kind of, we added Pauline's Pearl in there. We added Clairiere in the second or third leg, and kind of just got nothing too. Because we kind of thought it was very similar to the Derby in sense that like these are the few horses that we think can win and go underneath. And we were right on Malthot, but that was about it. Search results. I don't think either one of us really thought that out of search results. I mean, she ran a huge race, and then Will Secret running third. It was just like, well. I mean, shit. We didn't even sniff that one.
No, yeah, that's the other thing. Malthot winning was great, but search results never had that horse around. I'm almost glad we didn't because Will Secret like beating out Clairiere for third would have been the all-time like, well, this is just not our day, and we should just go home and not come back. But at least we weren't close for second or third here. So yeah, I mean. We left Churchill Downs pretty upset, $141 in the hole after this day, and it was brutal. It definitely was frustrating, race after race, just to not even be close.
Yeah, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're, God, Lee, these guys are awful. How do they ever make any money on this day? It's like, or on these 2 days. Like, yeah, good question. But that's why you keep coming back and you just stick with it. We kept betting. We it's like. You're almost like, you know what? We can't be that bad at handicapping. Like it just wasn't that. It wasn't our day. They didn't run. They got in trouble. They bled. Whatever the case was, you're just like, okay, Saturday, let's do it again. So we kicked things off with the Churchill Downs Distaff Turf Mile. Even though we didn't hit this, I liked. We went to Chad Brown exactly box here, and you like Blowout. I like She's Got You. She's Got You just never really ran. Blowout won, but tried to lose again. But that was like the first one. It's like, okay, blowout. There's a winner. Even though we didn't cash anything here, so to speak. We're like, all right, she ran. That was kind of the first time you felt like, okay, she's gonna win because she was way ahead early in that race. Like, okay, if she holds on, let's get the 2 up there. That at least that was like the first time we're like, okay, we have it. Let's just get the 2 up.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like even though you lose this bet, if you're still playing along, it's like, okay, that's better. At least we had a horse that we liked and it run well. So I thought after that one, really after the first 6 races, because we had a couple winners early in the card, not for this article, but just on the guide in general. I felt going into race 7, okay, we're doing much better today, and I liked the prospects moving forward after this one.
All right, yeah, and let's get to race 7, which was probably one of the best bets we made in the 2 days. That's the Derby City Distaff Stakes. We both loved Gamine. I mean, she was the free square for the 2 days, and so we're like, how do we play her? How do we use her and try to make money? And so what we did is we played a pick 3, a $10 pick 3. We both liked Jackie's Warrior and Defunded in the Pat Day, and we both really liked Annex and De Jour in the 9th race. So we just played those. We just played a 1, 2, 2 pick 3 for $10. The total cost was $40. So that's how we that's how we try to make money on Gamine. Gamine wins. She won with like a C race, and that's really all it took. But this is when it started. This is when we felt like, all right, Gamine wins, and then we get to the Pat Day.
Well, the interesting thing about this race, at the top of the stretch, I looked at you and thought, she's beat. And it looked like they were just going to swarm her, and she just kept going, kept grinding, and then you kind of calm down. It's like, okay, she is going to win, and you're right. That kind of was the catapult, right? Because then we roll right into the next race.
Yep. So we get to the Pat Day. As far as obviously we have a live ticket. We're there with the pick 3. We both liked Defunded here on top, and so we decided to play a $20 Tony to win on Defunded, which I think was like 5 to 1. So like, that's great value. Let's do it. This was like obviously we get it home with Jackie's Warrior, who holds off Dream Shake. It's an incredible effort by Jackie's Warrior. They ran so fast early in that race, but it's like you and I looked at each other as they were probably entering the turn with Defunded. We're like, well, I was like, I'm like, what is happening? Like this is, and you're like, well, he's riding the horse like he's going to win by 10. Yeah. I mean, it's this horse. He just, he weaved, he went out, he went in, he just did whatever he wanted with this horse. And then he comes up flat down the stretch. But man, that was it was almost like Baffert told him, he's like, hey, just keep him clear. He's going to win.
Yeah, it was just strange. And you're right. I mean, he just kept him wide the whole time and rode him like he was the best horse in the race by far. And he was not even close. He fades. He doesn't even get third. He gets 4th. So the bet loses, but thankfully our pick 3 stays alive because Jackie's Warrior is able to fend off Dream Shake. And this was a really good feeling because it looked like Dream Shake was going to go right on by. Jackie's Warrior dug in. Thank you for this mammoth effort to keep us alive into the American turf. Because that was very scary. Like that's the scariest you can get coming down the stretch. Because Dream Shake, by all purposes, probably should have went by.
And here's the thing. We get to race 9, the American turf, and we still, even though we are live in that pick 3, we have still yet to cash a ticket in this. Okay. So I think we've not cashed one single ticket. We are in race 9 of the second day, and that's the American Turf Stakes. In this race, individually, we played a trifecta wheel, $1 trifecta wheel. We had Annex, De Jour, and Scarlet Sky on top with Win From Within, Annex, De Jour, Scarlet Sky, and then we had those with Next in the 3rd spot. Needless to say, we didn't catch that one either. But De Jour, man, Bob Baffert on the turf, the best angle, right? He comes. I mean, what an unbelievable effort this was from De Jour, and really just was much the best at the end. This
was probably the most nervous I've ever been going into a race because we knew the wheel pays, right? And it's like, okay, even if we were say we missed the try wheel that we're going to play here. If De Jour wins, we're up $78 with 3 races to go. It's like this would be amazing. Like what a comeback if De Jour wins, because I believe this paid $316. This pick 3 to De Jour if you had it for $10, obviously. and that would have put us up 78. Even if Annex wins, we're almost even. I think we're down just a bit, but it's like, wow, we have new life. So I was super nervous, and Annex, you could tell about midway on the turn, wasn't going to win. So it's like, okay, our hopes ride on a Bob Baffert turf horse at Churchill Downs in a graded stakes race. And it's like, oh my God, what did we think? This horse absolutely kicked it in on the stretch. Never really in doubt once we broached the final 100 yards. And yeah, I was just smiling from ear to ear thinking we have been bad, like really bad, no way around it at times. We've been kind of unlucky at times. But here we're going to go into the last 3 stakes races on Derby Day and be up $78 for this combined article. I felt like we had stolen money. I mean, it was just like, I can't believe we've done this.
Well, and I think
it only takes one. It only takes one if you bet right.
And you said, I think this is a good lesson to learn, because even as we played it, I don't think we thought necessarily it would that kind of return. We were looking at the will pays when they were getting ready to load for that race 9. You're like, holy shit, if the 5 wins, I mean, either one wins, we're going to make money. But if 5 wins, it's like, yeah. And, you think about it, a Gamine, Jackie's Warrior du Jour, pick 3, paid $317. I mean, wasn't that, I mean, it was borderline easy. And I know you have to have racing luck. And of course we did with Jackie's Warrior, especially. Mm-hmm. But, you look, that's how you make money with a huge favorite like Gamine.
That's the key. That's the big lesson to learn here. It's better when you're playing those to just pound your opinions. Like if you play that for 50 cents, you're not going to get anything back. But you play it for $10 and you go short and you say, if I'm right, I'm going to get paid. And it worked out. I mean, that was the huge wager, of the day there. Well, no, it was the biggest payout of the day. So we do have one more coming that really made the day. But yeah, it's just it's just one of those things. Like I said, you turn Gamine winning into $316 basically on a $40 bet.
Yep, and really, that's what kicked things off. I mean, that's when we really got hot late in this card, and Churchill Downs Stakes. We decided, you know what, we're gonna play. This was a wide open race, and it proved to be that. And we're just like, you know what, we both like Whitmore. We both had Whitmore in our top 4. We big fans of Whitmore. Like, why not? And like, let's play him. 20 to win here. He's 5-1. He looks like a win. I mean, it's really, to me, I've watched this race back 100 times. I still don't know. It was just the wildest race because he looked like a winner for sure. When he kind of got going and he did his typical move where he gets outside and he's motoring by and he's going by them all, and you're like, he's got it. We've got it. We're gonna win again. $100. I mean, $100 on Whitmore. Like, you kidding me? And he just hangs. He hangs, and not only that, it's like the winner, Flagstaff, wins, and didn't even know where Flagstaff was in the race, and for a second, Lexingtonian almost won at a huge price, and then he pops up. It was just a wild race. It went from Whitmore being the winner to who the hell won?
I was in stunned silence because at this point, yeah, we're up to $78. We're super excited, and you're right. The whole stretch, I'm like, it's like, I can't believe this is happening. We got 5-1 on this horse and he's going to win. And it looked like he was going to win easy. And then he gets 3rd. And it's like, what the hell happened to him? I've never seen him do anything like that. Usually if he's in that stretch and he's getting ready to take the lead, it's over. And he didn't finish the race. And you're right. At Flagstaff pops up and wins out of nowhere. I didn't even know where he was at. Lexingtonian, a terrible beat if you had that horse at a big price. But yeah, again, it's like maybe we just can't get any luck. Sure, we got that pick 3 home, but my God, is that the only thing we're going to cash? Because that looked like a winner. And then what's really frustrating is Whitmore has beaten Flagstaff easily when they faced. So it's not like it was some new horse that he just couldn't beat. He's better than the horse that won. And so that was just really frustrating.
Whitmore's been a hard horse this year because he's ran 3 winning races and yet he's got 2 seconds in the 3rd. It's been tough. He's just ran really good races 3 in a row and just can't quite get there. All right, race of the day, and this is for not only for our wagering purposes but also just in general. This is one of the best races you'll ever see, and one of the best races we've ever seen live. The Old Forester Bourbon Turf Classic. Boy, was it a classic! I mean, these horses throw it down. Colonel Liam goes, looks like a winner. Domestic spending, all kinds of trouble. First start of the year for Chad Brown, and holy shit, this horse finally gets room to run, and damn, this horse gobbled up ground. I mean, just out of a cannon, finally gets going, and you think, oh my gosh, he's like, because we have Colonel Liam, we have a 3-5 $20 exacta box, the same strategy. If you follow this guide, same strategy we used in the Breeders' Cup in the turf race there, with like these two horses are gonna, and they, I mean, Colonel Liam looked like he was gonna get home, like, come on, 5, just get up for second, and then in a second, you're like, win, and then even whenever it happened, we both thought he won, and obviously this goes down as a dead heat. This was just an unbelievable race, and of course, waiting for the dead heat results, it was a great feeling because whatever happens, we have it.
Yeah, this was just awesome. There's no other way around it. This was just awesome. This, you get a big payout here. $294 is what this thing pays out on a $40 wager. So, you want to do a backflip. You're so excited about that. And it was just awesome. It was a great race, one of the best races I've ever seen live. Like you said, and it's just it so much reminded me of the Breeders' Cup turf last year, like you said as well, with Tarnawa winning that race, and you just kind of got to get that second horse, where this time they dead heat. Domestic spending. What a horse. This guy is going to be a monster moving forward. Look out for this horse moving forward. So, a great race. This made the day. We didn't have to worry about hitting the Derby or not. We were going to be profitable after this one, which that's always a little bit of relief. But I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the near miss in the Derby now to end this thing.
Do we have to? I mean, this is...
could have turned a good day into a tremendous day.
This one, and I'll be honest with everybody, this was just, Halter and I, we sat down and did this together before we hit the road to the Derby, and he kind of lets me especially when it comes to the Derby, because we hit the trifecta a few years ago, back in 2017, for $4,100, 50 cents, and it's like, I constructed that ticket, and it's like, okay, he kind of lets me do my thing when it comes to the Derby try, and this one falls on me. I was all over this race, and I played two tickets. I played a $1 trifecta wheel and a 50-cent trifecta wheel. One was for $84, one was for $45. The $1 one, I had Essential Quality and Rock Your World on top. Obviously, those felt like the two strongest horses to play, so that's why I played it for $1. I had Mandaloon in the second spot there. Medina Spirit, Hot Rod, Midnight Bourbon, Essential Quality, Rock Your World, Highly Motivated. And I had, I had it. And I played those again with a few others underneath. In the 50-cent leg, I played Medina Spirit on top with Hot Rod Charlie. And I didn't use Mandaloon in the second spot. I look back, and obviously I went really crazy in the third leg with Obezos, who obviously ran well. Midnight Bourbon, Soup and Sandwich, that was stupid. But basically the theory behind this was, in the 50-cent one, you don't need, you if you're assuming Medina Spirit or Hot Rod wins, so you're getting, there's your value. You don't necessarily need a Mandaloon underneath in the second leg because you're gonna get the prize. You use Mandaloon. Obviously, I used Mandaloon in the third spot in that one. It's just the theory was right. The strategy was really bad because it just if I gave you my top 6 horses, Mandaloon, Medina Spirit, and Hot Rod Charlie, and frankly Essential Quality would have all been in my top 6. I was all over the right horses. I just didn't construct it the right way, and honestly, I wish. When the result came in, Haltern said, "Did you use Mandaloon in second?" I was like, "I did." And I was like, "Great." So we look at it, and I'm like, "Son of a, I did." Like, you should never be in a situation where you're not cashing off of having the right opinion, and that's what happened.
Yeah, this is a tough one to take. I definitely it's one of those things. It's always hindsight's always 2020 in this game. Looking back, when you know the results, so I'm just not one of those guys that go after the race. Go, oh, I shoulda. No, you did what you did when you thought when before you knew what happened, and that's that. Yeah, looking back on it, sure, I would have loved if you would have swapped Midnight Bourbon for Mandaloon. And put Mandaloon in second and Midnight Bourbon in third. That would have been great. But you know what? Before the race, I may have told you the exact opposite. So, I don't cry over stuff like that because it's always easy when you know the results.
And the key is that that strategy wouldn't have worked. The reason we cashed in 2017 was not due to having my top 6 horses and using them. I mean, It was let's get wild. And I think the key difference though is this year it definitely seemed a little more top heavy, in sense. So I should have been, at the very least, I should have had one ticket that we used that had that pushed our opinion the most. You know what I mean? I should have had one ticket that, combined Medina Spirit, Hot Rod, Essential, and Rock Your World, since those are our top 4 horses in the top spot with the alsos underneath, should have had one ticket that we had that. Obviously that, I think what was the pick or the tribe paid like $800, I think it was. So, I mean, that would have been for 50 cents. So yeah, that would have made a great day. Awesome. And hopefully, my hope is that people saw these tickets and said, I love that ticket, but I'm throwing Mandaloon. They had Mandaloon in one of them. They didn't have in the other. And we did get a few emails that used our tickets and kind of constructed their own. So that's great. But I just wish we would have had it.
Yeah, me too. But listen, I'll take the profit we had and be very happy. It was a lot of fun. And again, it was nice. It was like you were just playing with bonus money at this point going into the Derby. That was our goal all along. We did not want this Derby as wide open as we felt it was to dictate if we have a good or bad day. You want to go in the Derby and okay, we hit this. It's just a huge bonus to an already good guide, and thankfully that's what we were. And it's just. It happens, but that's why they make the Preakness and the Belmont. We'll be back.
Well, and I want everyone. I want to stress this, and I'll end it with this because I look at this as a opportunity to learn, and I think everyone should. If when you're kind of going, if you take a swing like this and you had it, but you just didn't connect or whatever the reason is, it's like, okay, I have to do better. So I had. Basically, my thoughts going to the race were I think Medina Spirit could win. I think Hot Rod could win. I think Essential Quality could win. I think Rock Your World could win. That's what I thought. That happened. Mm-hmm. I thought Mandaloon could run a much improved race at a price, hit the board. I thought Hot Rod Charlie could run his race and hit the board. That happened, and I didn't cash it. And so that's the key to the takeaway is if you have those feelings going into the race, make sure you have at least one ticket that has it. So that's the biggest thing there. But yeah, like you said, we had 15 total tickets bet. We hit 2 of them and we made money. So that's the biggest takeaway. So congrats to everybody that played that and made money with us. And we'll be back, obviously, like you said, in the Preakness.
I was going to say, and that's 3 times. We've done this 3 times, and 3 times in a row, we've been able to hit on a pretty solid ROI. So let's hope the Preakness can keep that up.
Well, shit, and just think about it. If you pay, even if you aren't subscribing, which you get these guides for free if you're a subscriber, but if you are just paying $40 a pop for each one of the, the Breeders' Cup, the Pegasus, and the Derby, and you're playing just exactly what we play, you're up. Yeah, I mean, you've made money on top of even what you've paid for the guides.
The articles are up about $800 through 3 articles. Yeah, I did that math very quickly this morning when getting ready for the show, but about $800. Are what the articles are up going into the Preakness guide. So hopefully we can keep it going. I will say this final word, because I know we got to go on to racing. This was the toughest one to put together because we did not have that solid win bet that's going to pay even money that can kind of build the bankroll. We had it in the other 2, which was the Breeders' Cup and the Pegasus. We did not have it here. So this was a tough one. This was a tough one to put together. Hopefully, Preakness, we've got a little bit more that we can kind of rely on.
Well, what's funny is that, in the past 2 guides before this, the win bets have what have kept us kind of going, kept us afloat. And then we've cashed one big like exacta or try or whatever Whereas this time, I mean, look, Aunt Pearl was a win bet, big swing and a miss. Caramel Swirl was a small win bet, but a big price, swing and a miss. Obviously we took a win bet on Defunded. That was a swing and a miss. Whitmore was a win bet. That was a swing and a miss. I mean, we didn't connect on any win bets. And that was partly because, like you said, we had a lot of differing opinions on top. And we just couldn't quite get there where we just love Nick's Go or whatever the case is. So we're going to hammer this horse to win. And we just didn't have that. So like you say, we were able to still cash and make money despite that. And I think we kind of proved, why it matters so much to one race. You don't always play a win bet every race. You don't always play a try every race. It kind of helps to, depending on what that race looks like, how you feel about that race is how you're going to make that bet. So obviously we'll be back for the Preakness, and hopefully we keep making money. I love doing that. I feel like we could talk about that forever. I mean,
for sure. Yeah.
All right. What do you say we get some racing? This is going to be a long show.
I was going to say, yeah. We're gonna rapid fire these.
We're gonna rapid the hell out of these. So
this is actually gonna be rapid fire.
Yeah.
Here, good question. Any reason why Scarlet Sky? I wish I could tell you. I have no idea. There was no reported reason. Just a non-effort is all I could guess.
All right. Let's get to it. 3, 2, 1. Time for rapid fire, presented by the Inside Track to the 2021 Preakness Stakes Wagering Guide. Our 2021 Preakness Stakes Wagering Guide is available for pre-sales very soon. We're working on that right now. Subscribe to Racing Dudes Premium and receive absolutely for free, or it can be purchased individually at racingdudes.com. Subscribe to Racing Dudes Premium today, and you'll get the Preakness Stakes Wagering Guide and the Belmont Stakes Wagering Guides absolutely for free. So if you're an active subscriber, you're getting them all free anyways, so make sure you go subscribe at racingdudes.com. Just go premium, and that's how you can get access to these wagering guides that we just mentioned. The wagering analysis, like how we're doing these bankrolls, are just fire, the last 3 guides. So you're going to make sure to take, if you do anything, just buy the guide and follow along, and hopefully we continue that trend. Let's go to Belmont Park. We got a big racing on Saturday, 5 stakes races that we're going to cover here on Rapid Fire. Of course, the end race, the Grade 1 Man of War, of course, Peter Pan, the race prior to that, which might have some horses that have something to say in the Belmont Stakes in the Triple Crown, into the Triple Crown. But let's kick things off with race 4, the Run Happy Stakes, Grade 3, 150K for 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. Field of 5 lines up for this one. What do you got?
Yeah, this is not the greatest field you ever see, but it's kind of interesting. It's nice to have Firenze Fire back. I'm actually going to take a shot against Firenze Fire with the 3 Chateau. I think this horse is loose on the lead here. Cuts back to 6 furlongs after running at 7 last time out. I think 6 is the best distance for this horse. So I'm going to go with number 3 Chateau, gate to wire in this one.
I'll give you a horse that's going to track that horse. Perfect draw right to the horses outside. How about Firenze Fire? This horse is going to fire. Likes Belmont, 5 wins, 8 starts. This distance, 6 for 12. Maybe this horse isn't what he used to be. Obviously, he's gotten older. Obviously, he doesn't have Jason Service, but he's very, very talented. Still, this horse is coming off of a little bit of a layoff. That's the only kind of fear here. But he gets Irad Ortiz back to ride. The horse can track. I like this horse because he possesses enough early speed to where he can sit. This horse, your pick, that is going to go. So he's able to sit off of that, and I think he's going to pounce late. So I like Firenze Fire to beat your horse here in the Run Happy. Let's go to race. What is that? Race 6. Mm-hmm. The Begay Stakes, Grade 3 with 150K for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 1 with 16th miles on the turf. Field of 6. Harvey's Little Goyle, are you going with her or against her?
I'm going to go with the first-time starter in the United States, number 2, La Mista for Chad Brown, and Irad Ortiz Jr. gets aboard. This horse is a former Group 2 winner. I think, this is a perfect class for her. A Grade 2, Grade 3 race here is right where she needs to be. Pretty interested to see how she starts off her United States campaign. And, spoiler alert, Chad Brown has a couple on this card that's going to make their United States debut. I'm going to go number 2, La Mista on top.
Side note, I just updated my PPs here, and I just saw the odds. In that last race, 8-5 a Chateau, 4-5 on Firenze Fire.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. I did not know that Firenze Fire was 4-5. Okay, well, that might change some things. Okay, Harvey's Little Goyle for me in the next race, 8-5. you listen, I'm going to be on. I'm going to be on Junior Alvarado a little bit on Saturday, I think, and hoping I'm right. But I just think this horse coming off of that Breeders' Cup, finished third to Daria and Rushing Fall. Ran a huge race and comes back off the layoff. I don't think there's any reason to fear that off that layoff, and love the fact of the way she's been working. I just think she might be the best horse in the race. I wanted to pick Civil Union. I think that horse is interesting as well. Rosario back to ride again. But Harvey's Little Goyle for me, I think she's just a little bit better than the rest of this field. I think drawing the one hole, she's a very versatile horse. She can sit the trip where she's closer to the pace or comes from well off. So Junior will make that decision. But I like number 1, Harvey's Little Goyle for me. Let's go to race 7. The Vagrancy Handicap, grade 3, 150K handicap for fillies and mares, 4-year-olds and up, going 6.5 furlongs, field of 7. Lines up for this one. What you got?
I took a little bit of a price here. I went with number 2, Sadie Lady on top. Look at Equibase.
Look at that.
Number 2, Sadie Lady.
I hate Equibase so much. Okay, I'm not a fucking robot. I'm trying to update the odds here. What do you got?
So Sadie Lady, the 2 horse, I think could take this field gate to wire. Looks like the lone speed in the race to me. I kind of just wanted to take a price as well. I don't love any of the real short prices or favorites here. So number 2, Sadie Lady, gate to wire. Kendrick Carmouche back aboard, and we know he's going to send this horse to the front. Very good speed rider.
Yeah, this is kind of a garbage race for me. I didn't love this race at all, but I ended up going to the horse. Once again, I'm going to go with the horse just to the outside of your horse, who is a speed horse, and the horse is going to sit the trip, I think, with number 3, Victim of Love. Again, it's very similar to Friends Fire. This horse possesses enough speed early in the race, but also has a little bit of a closing kick. And hey, guess who jumps on? Joel Rosario. I almost said Jose Rosario. Rosario, he's going to get this horse home. I love the fact that he's on this horse. And, you look at this horse, come back, won this race last year. Ballerina finished a very good third. This horse was a huge price when he won, when she won the Vagrancy, and then came back and really showed that she's a pretty good horse in the Ballerina. Really didn't run great coming back. It ran second, but I think she's going to have the screws tightened a little bit here. And of course, it helps when you get Rosario on board. So at 4-1, I'm going to take a little bit of upset. Number 3, Victim of Love. Let's go to, let's see if Equibase will work with me here. Let's go to race 9, the Peter Pan Stakes, grade 3 with 200K for 3-year-olds. Going 1.18 miles, field of 6 lined up for this one. And like I said earlier, risk taking is the 7-5 morning line favorite, but will he run?
Yeah, it's going to be the interesting thing, right? Risk-taking may run in the Preakness. It's kind of a 50-50 call, they say, at this point right now. Either way, I did not pick a risk-taking in this race. I picked the number 3 Promise Keeper for Todd Pletcher. Luis Saez stays aboard, 5th race in a row. Luis Saez has rode the horse. 2 races back at Tampa Bay. It was horrible. Tampa Bay Derby was a complete non-effort, but looked like the light bulb came on to me. Went 1 1/8 miles last time out at Keeneland. In an allowance, wins by 5.5, gets 1 1/8 miles distance here, the Peter Pan. I think the light bulb came on for Promise Keeper, so I'm going to go number 3, Promise Keeper.
Yeah, man, I almost went there. I love that pick at 7-2, especially. Kind of like a little bit like a known agenda, a little bit where it's like a horse looks awful, and then they make a move and they kind of cut back or take a step back, go to an allowance, boom, awesome. Then the horse flashes. My fear with this horse, was that a Lasix thing or not? I don't know. The horses won on Lasix, took them off, ran obviously awful, comes back to Lasix and wins in that allowance race. And now he's off Lasix again. Someone asked a question, you guys are going to have to handicap with Lasix. Yeah, you do. Unfortunately, that's where we're at now with Lasix, and then also you have to factor in, like we talked about at Churchill, it's like, okay, if they're off Lasix, which of these horses will bleed? You got to kind of account for that sometimes. You never know who's going to bleed, obviously, but you just don't, that's another factor that comes in whenever the Lasix stuff is happening. So you kind of it's an angle, right? It's turned into an angle because you kind of have to approach it that way. I went with number 2, Nova Rags, and I'm a little surprised The odds, man. I guess 5-2 seems awfully low on this horse. Belmont, Junior Alvarado. I told you I was on this again. I just think this horse is a little bit sneaky here. Maybe not a 5-2, but going a mile and eighth, you might say, oh, this horse can't get a mile and eighth. Maybe he can, but that one-turn mile and eighth race, this horse has a win at Belmont. Broke his maiden at Belmont Park with Junior, of course. And you got to think the fact that Belmont says, you know what, let's run him here, I think says a lot. This is a horse who, won the Pasco, then came in, really was not great in the Sam F. Davis. Wasn't awful, wasn't great. Got beat by Candyman Rocket. Went to the Florida Derby, was really bad. Finished fourth, beaten 7 that day. But he shows up here, and I think that tells you a lot. And I think this horse has enough speed that I wouldn't be totally shocked if this horse ends up on the lead. And so if this horse is on the lead or close to it, I think he might be awfully tough. I love the way this horse has been working out. The fact that he shows up here, I think he's got a shot. So 5-2 is a little low for me on Nova Rags. I don't know what I think of this horse moving forward, but I think this race, like risk taking, obviously, but I'm not going to play 7-5 on risk taking. I don't know about you, but I just think that, I'm looking for a little bit of upset here. So I think you are on the same page. Trying to pull a little bit of upset. I like Nova Rags to get it done. All right, let's go to the main event on Saturday, race 10, the Main Award Stakes, grade 1, 700K. For 4-year-olds and up, going 1 3/8 miles on the turf, field of 8 lined up for this one. And look at this, Sovereign, your one horse. Boy, I'm picking him today. The Sovereign, 8-5 morning line favorite over the 8-horse Gafo at 2-1 for Clement. Did you go one of those?
Yeah, I'm super excited for Sovereign. This is a really, really classy horse over in Europe, trained by Aidan O'Brien before being shipped over this year to Chad Brown, so makes the United States debut. It's a former Group 1 winner. The horse went winless last year, but he was in some tough races. He got beat by some really good horses, including an Able. So the Sovereign, I think, is going to be the class of this field. I'm super excited to see this horse. I think he's going to run huge. But I am excited for Gafo. I think that is a really, really good horse. You look at Gafo, the only time that horse lost last year, it was to Domestic Spending, who is a monster. So listen, these two horses, I think they're head and shoulders above the rest. But I am going to give Sovereign the edge here over Gafo.
Me too. I kind of was hoping that the odds be flip-flopped a little bit, but like 5-2 on Sovereign and then 8-5 on Gafo. But no, I love these two. I think they stand out. In fact, I think if you want to play just hammer the shit out of this exacta, just hammer it. I mean, I'm talking $50 exacta box or something on these two, because really I love Sovereign. I think this horse draw on the rail. This horse has ran, in his previous races, got to the lead. Honestly, when you watch that, the Irish Derby, this horse just kind of forgot to stop. Just kept on going, and something like so you get that, get into Belmont. I think this horse is going to run really quick early, or going to just kind of be try to take him the whole way, and then obviously you got Gafo, who's going to be coming from off, and so you're going to have Domestic Spending a little bit, and so I think you're going to have that perfect combo, and those two hitting the wire together, I think is going to be relatively I wouldn't say easy, but it seems like that these two definitely stand out in this race. So I'm with you. I like both those horses, but I'm taking number 1 Sovereign as well on top.
See, that's how you rapid fire, right?
I was going to say that is how you rapid fire.
Yeah.
You get the picks, you get what people want, you get what the people want, and you move on.
That's right.
All right, we're gonna wrap this puppy up. Thank you, everyone, tuning in. If you have any questions, I want to. I think we could talk a little bit about the Lasix if you want. But yeah, I think I think Lasix is something that we unfortunately have to account for now, and it makes it difficult from a handicapper standpoint of deciding when to use. Because some tracks require it, some don't, and so you don't know what to do, and gosh, if you think it's hard for us, think how it must be for trainers.
It's a terrible rule. It's just an asinine rule, and I hate it.
One thing I wanted to mention, I forgot about Sovereign that I thought was super interesting. this horse is getting like 10 or 15 pound reduction, weight drop, because this horse was running with 133, 137, 133, 128, 118 on Saturday. So tell me that doesn't help.
Oh, it's got to help after consistently running it with heavier, over and over. Yeah, it's got to help. It's got to help a lot. I mean, I didn't realize that horse was over here until I saw the entry. I thought, wait a second, that's Aiden O'Brien's horse. I remembered that horse from several races internationally, and I'm not like an international guy at all, but I'd watch, the big ones, and it's like I remember that horse. So it was pretty cool to see him.
All right, 3, 2, 1. That's all done. We have. Check us out at racedudes.com for our free picks and our premium selection on our handicap products page. Click the products link in the main menu at racedudes.com. Just click that big button on the website. Get Racing Dudes Premium. You get access to all our premium picks. Get Soma Bombs. Get Rockets. You can get access to the Racing Dudes Premium. You get the guides, which obviously will have the Preakness wagering guide coming out very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. We are your destination site for everything horse racing, so check us out at racingdudes.com. You can listen to this show on our website at racingdudes.com. We're on Twitter at racingdudes, Instagram, and Facebook. You can also listen to it on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play Music, Stitcher, even website racingdudes.com. I was messing around with the podcast stuff the other night, and like Google Play Music isn't a thing anymore. So maybe don't check it out there. I don't know where it went. I think it's like YouTube Music now. So okay. Not sure if we're on there, but definitely on iTunes and SoundCloud and Stitcher and all that shit. So make sure to go check out the Magic Mike show later on this afternoon at 4:30. They're doing that late pick 5 at Belmont. So obviously we just talked a lot about that card as well. So if you want their take, and obviously it's not Magic, it's Dan. So the Dan Summit show. I don't call him Mike, so it's weird, but the Dan Mike show, later. Make sure you stay tuned for that. So, you got a little bit of break and then get into some handicapping later on this evening. Final thoughts, Halterman. What you got? Do you think that, anything that you really want to get off your chest?
No, I don't really have anything. I'm glad that we put a bow on the Derby. I'm glad we did well on the Derby, and it's time to go on to Baltimore. Even though that we just got 2 major defections out of the race today, it's time to go on to Baltimore. I'm ready for that.
I know we talked a little bit on the live show on Saturday night, and I'll double back to it a little bit just because I'm interested. I legitimately want to know what your thoughts, because we asked like who is the best horse in the race. We talked about that right after, and it's like after we've had time to really let it sink in and look at the replays. And obviously you did a great thing every week, every year after the Kentucky Derby, where you go through every single horse and what kind of how everyone's trip was. What do you take from that as we who is the best horse?
Well, Soup and Sandwich, clearly the best horse coming out of this race, no doubt. The check at the top of the stretch, it really bothered him. It's funny how we watch horses that we like in a different light than we watch horses that we don't like. And so, like, Vinny comes on and he's like, "Oh, there's just the check. He was gonna be right there, and he checked." And I watched this replay, and I'm like, he backed up so hard, unless he actually hit a wall. There's no excuse. So he was not. I guess Essential Quality is who I would say is the best coming out of it, but it's not by a lot. It's really not. The more you watch his trip, it's like, yeah, he sat wide, but he was clear and had no trouble, and he just got beat. So the best horse may have just been Medina Spirit. He's better than Mandaloon and Hot Rod Charlie. I can 100% tell you that. Those horses had no excuses.
I mean, I think the easy answer is Essential Quality, but you just like the easiest answer might be we just don't know. I mean, if Medina Spirit goes and wins the Preakness, he's like, why is he not? He might just be the best horse.
He was clearly the best horse when it compared to the second and third place finishers. We'll never know. If Essential Quality gets Mandaloon's trip, I'm not going to say I'm confident, but I think he would have won, But but he didn't. So Medina Spirit was the best horse in the race. The more you watch it, that's the conclusion you come up with if you watch this thing, 100 times, which I have to put together the article, and just because I'm crazy, he just kind of was better than everybody else.
You know what's funny is I was actually just sitting here thinking, looking at this list, is like it'd be surprising, and just hang with me here, but it's like it'd be surprising if one of these horses doesn't win the Preakness. And guess what? Only one horse is running in the Preakness. Some of these 4 horses, and that's Medina Spirit. So you're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to kind of fathom someone else beat any of these 4. Like if Mandaloon or Hot Rod, if say Mandaloon, Hot Rod, and Essential Quality all came in, gosh, that makes a hell of a difference as far as coming up with your strategy on how to bet this. But they aren't, so it kind of makes it easier, isn't it? It's Concert Tour or it's him.
I mean, at this moment, you'd almost have to think that, right? And the weird thing is, Concert Tour was supposed to be better than Medina Spirit before the Arkansas Derby. So it's just like, oh boy, what are we going to do now? I mean, can we beat him? I don't know.
Sile Paulus says Concert Tour had one bad race like Mandaloon. Why could he be the best? Well,
yeah,
maybe he is. I mean, you never know. If Concert Tour comes back and runs huge, and you could so see it, so typical, right? So Baffert to be like Medina goes out and sets it up for Concert Tour or whatever, and it's like, well, son of a bitch, like it's Concert Tour.
The only but the only weird thing about it is I don't think Baffert would jeopardize his Triple Crown hopes with Medina Spirit, Or does that just say, I don't think this horse has any shot to win the Triple Crown. I've got this other horse that's doing well. I want 2 shots to win the Preakness.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We're going to have to do some face reading, I guess, of Bob Baffert with his interviews to kind of figure out what the case may be there.
Isn't it? I don't have the stat in front of me. You probably know it. Isn't it that Baffert has never lost a Preakness when he's won the Derby?
He had never lost until last year. Authentic got beat last year. Yeah.
To, of course, the Philly and damn near won it. So, there you go. So, I mean, the odds of him winning this race are high.
Yeah. I mean, he's got the 2 favorites. So, the other problem is, like, who do you play, like Midnight Bourbon? I'm not excited about that. Rombauer? You want to play Rombauer? I mean, Crowded Trade. Could he do a cloud computing for Chad Brown? Crowded Trade?
I mean, for sure. I guess he could.
Could.
No drug test. No, we won't. No. Problem is, when we do find out, this will be long over, and it'll be, contamination for the drug tests of Medina Spirit. And, my mom sent me this funny something she found on Facebook or something. It was like someone that had talked about what was it? Talked about Medina Spirit and how this horse came from $1,000 and how good he was, and it says it basically was saying something like, this horse, heart and grit and just tough work, and it was like and drugs on top of all that helps. But it's a sad story because it's a great story. This horse was $1,000. No one wanted them. The horse was, poorly bred. It's a Patana, it's like, it's a cool story. But then unfortunately, the looming factor is the one factor we don't like to talk about. And so it's like, it puts a little bit of a sour taste in your mouth because you want it to be a good story.
He's probably one of the more likable horses that have won the Derby since probably California Chrome. Cost nothing, came from nothing. He's just he's finished first or second every time. He's just a gritty. He is. I mean, like he fights you. He doesn't want to let you pass. He doesn't get he's ran a ton of races. They just keep running him and he just keeps on going. I mean, he's kind of, I don't know, like he is likable for sure. But you do have that other factor looming. So.
Well, and I know I've had a lot of people reach out to me that they don't follow racing like super close, but of course oh my gosh, like I can't believe that horse didn't cost anything, and like gives you like this, like, oh, I could own a Derby horse, you know, like you just never, you never know, and it's true, but you need your trainer to be top effort if you're going to make that happen. So, but yeah, our job is to handicap and pick winners, and that's what we're going to try to do in the Preakness. So we'll be back next week to talk more about that. Make sure you stay tuned for the Magic Mike Show coming up next. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend. Thanks, everybody.